Welcome back to part 2 of the Travis Scott Iceberg. In part 1, we covered the first half, 1, 2, and 3, the third layers. And in this part, I'm not really sure what we're going to be able to cover, but we will see when the video comes out. So let's get into it. I would describe the fourth layer as someone who is like a true fan of Travis Scott. These are the people that have listened to like all of his mainstream stuff, maybe not his like obscure music, but they've done enough research and they know enough about him to be considered a real fan. r/Travis Scott is Travis Scott's official Reddit page. It is a community where people come together and post snippets, updates on him, and more. It's almost like a news outlet for just Travis Scott, and they're the reason why we have this iceberg, so shout out all the Reddit users I mentioned before for creating it. Infamous music reviewer Anthony Fantano, aka The NEEDLEDROP, gave Travis Scott's 2014 album Days Before Rodeo a 3 out of 10. Many of his reviews are infamous in the music community as being, underscores of what an album actually is, and this is pretty much the one for Travis, given that this was one of Travis's best early works, and in my opinion, way better than a 3 out of 10. You can go check out my review on the channel of Days Before Rodeo for my thoughts, and we will talk about that album in itself later on. Other infamous reviews include My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and many, many more. Rapper Ruby Rose once claimed in 2019 that she dated 21 Savage and Travis Scott at a point. Later on, people on Twitter put the pieces together and confirmed that Travis was older than 18 when he dated a then 15-year-old Ruby. It caused a slight outcry but didn't affect Travis long term. Still something to think about though. Rodeo tracks 3500 and Piss on Your Grave were originally for Kanye West's album that would come out a year after Rodeo, The Life of St. Pablo. Pablo's tracklist was constantly evolving, and since decided to drop before Kanye, Kanye decided to give Piss on Your Grave, a song he was on, to Travis. As for 3500, Travis had to give him a demo that turned out to be FML off of Pablo to Kanye in exchange for a single. Sounds like a fair trade, and sorry for the background noise as well. Travis Scott dropped a short film for the Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight album called In Short Birds in the Trap on his YouTube 9 months after the album released. He also dropped a short documentary for the album that featured the likes of Kanye West and actor Seth Rogen. It detailed the tour for the album and the making of the album. Other people that made appearances were Puff Daddy, QUAVO, Mike Dean, and Kevin Garnett. This is, of course, talking about the documentary. These are the two main pieces of footage that came out of this album, so I decided to throw them together for those of you who are following along with the iceberg. In June 2017, around the time the short film for Birds in the Trap came out, YouTuber Decibel S released a music video for an iconic track from Birds in the Trap. It's way back. It's about 7 minutes long and features Houston Rockets star at the time, James Harden, who is referenced in the track on the chorus. Black Youngsta also made an appearance, who is featured on one of the album's tracks, Coordinate. I don't believe it was officially endorsed by anyone, but the video almost has 400,000 views, so it's safe to say it's a pretty big hit in the Travis community. Travis Scott's original artist name was styled as Travis Scott with the $ and the first S, and I believe this was inspired by bad boy rapper Mace, who also had a $ for the S. He said it looked fresh. As for why he removed it, it was because he was getting mixed up with ASAP Mob, more specifically ASAP Rocky, and we will talk about those two's relationship later. Obviously, ASAP Rocky and everyone in ASAP Mob had that same $ in the S of ASAP, so yeah. 4am is a track off of rap icon 2 Chainz's album Pretty Girls Like Trap Music. It was a single for the album that Travis was featured on, and it was released in 2017. One half of the legendary southern rap duo Outkast and a legendary lyricist, Andre 3K, 3 Stacks, 3000, whatever you want to call him, was an uncredited feature on the intro track to Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight, The Ends. His verse is very, very harrowing and lays out an experience he had as a young kid in Atlanta during a serial killer's reign over young kids. He talks about the traumas and visualizes how terrifying it was to live in Atlanta at the time. Pretty haunting verse and something that really sticks with you as you listen to it. As ASTROWORLD was gaining worldwide acclaim, people started to notice something. His Reddit users and people on YouTube speculated that Stop Trying to Be God, I believe it's track 5 on the album, was meant to be a Kanye diss. Since Kanye always portrays himself as a god through his lyrics and his YEEZUS persona, and Travis is talking about keeping his circle small, people were thinking this is him officially cutting ties with Kanye. Another subtle thing is featuring Drake on ASTROWORLD. Drake and Kanye were two rappers who at the time weren't on good terms. It starts to kind of make sense when you piece everything together, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube you can find on all of the theories. Back in 2017, Travis was arrested for inciting a riot in Arkansas. Soon after, his mugshot hit the internet and they had a field day with it. Rapper mugshots have been known to be memed in their respective communities, with the likes of Tyler the Creator, XXXTentacion, NBA Youngboy, and more receiving similar reactions. Travis was bailed within minutes of his arrest, so this is probably why his mugshot was a target of humor in his fanbase. Champions is a single that Travis Scott was on that was meant for the Good Music compilation album Cruel Winter, which was a sequel to Cruel Summer, and I'm sorry if I got those mixed up earlier. It was put together by Kanye West, the owner of the Good Music record label, and featured signees like Big Sean and Yo Gotti, as well as outsiders of the label like 2 Chainz and Gucci Mane. Cruel Winter was soon scrapped as an album entirely. The single came out in 2016, and the album was supposed to drop later that year or early 2017. Never came to form, and as of now, this is a Lucy single. Ben TRILL was a fashion brand that Travis Scott collabed with under the name Ben TRILL X LaFlame, LaFlame being a nickname of Travis's. The shirt they were selling was reselling on Grailed for $140 to $300. This was one of Travis's first major collabs, so it is a landmark in history for Travis fans, and the shirt is iconic, donning camo designs and all sorts of dope fonts and emblems on it, and you can see the back of it pictured right there. Travis Scott has over 39 tattoos and is probably more by the time you were seeing this video. We've discussed a few in this video already for reference, and we might even discuss a few more later. Green and Purple is a Travis Scott song that features Playboi Carti, who is mentioned earlier. This track came right off of Playboi Carti's self-titled debut mixtape. Carti was gaining traction as a part of the Og crew, famous for A$AP Rocky and Ferg. On Carti's birthday, Travis brought him out at a New York show, and I believe they performed this song. This is a SoundCloud exclusive where they talk about green, marijuana, and purple, which represents lean. Travis also details his nights during tour, and makes a slight reference to his next album, ASTROWORLD. They've also worked together on tracks like Houdini as well. Also, on that same song, there was a hepatitis line made by Carti that caused a temporary controversy on the internet, but it soon died down, and it's not something people really talk about anymore. On Philadelphia rapper Lil Uzi Vert's track Prices off of his 2020 album Eternal Take, the track samples the second half of Way Back, a track that is on Birds in the Trap singing McKnight, and we've already talked about it a little bit, where the track switches and has this amusement park like carousel sound. He used this for the whole loop of the track, and I don't blame him. I mean, that's probably one of the best parts of Way Back. Really dope sample in hip-hop. Young Lean was a Swedish rapper that was a part of what is infamously known as the cloud rap era. He influenced many rappers, including Travis Scott, more importantly for this Iceberg. These two artists have collabed a handful of times, including on Young Lean's 2014 debut album Unknown Memory, on the track Ghost Town. This shot Lean into fame, and at the time Travis himself was on the cusp of fame, being considered underground at the time, both of these artists, and that's kind of where they connected. Other than that, Young Lean was on the original version of a RODEO track called Wasted, which is track 4, and the two have been spotted linked up numerous times, including this infamous picture with Drake, Baby Keem, and Kanye in presence. Back in 2014, this was the year we got one of Travis Scott's first big projects, Days Before Rodeo. This was his second mixtape after Alfaro, which we will talk about later, and was released for free exclusively on SoundCloud under who he was signed to at the time, T.I.'s Grand Hustle Records. This was a prequel to the iconic Rodeo, and it features a longtime friend Young Thug, a sample from indie rock band The 1975, Big Sean, Rich Homie Quan, The Migos, P-Way Longway, and T.I. himself. Mamacita and Don't Play were the two singles, and the album dons 12 tracks, including bonus track Back. FML off of the Life of Pablo, Kanye West's 2017 album, was originally meant for Rodeo until he traded with Kanye for $3,500, which we mentioned earlier. FML was only in demo at the time, and Kanye developed it into the track we know and love today. Travis and A$AP Rocky, who we talked a little bit about earlier, have been almost synonymous with each other, not because of the music they make, but because of their looks. Apparently they look alike, which is something I don't necessarily get. You can kind of see it in the picture, and this may be because they are two black men with box dreads who make rap music. I mean, they're going to be put in the same lane. They easily get mixed up in musical talks, and I just don't really understand why. Like I said earlier, this is why Travis took the $ out of his name. One is a fashion killer, and the one is a rager. So stop getting it mixed up. Travis La Flame was an album that came out on Tidal in 2016 that included every track on Days Before Rodeo, as well as tracks like 5 Mo with Lil Durk and French Montana, and extra songs with the likes of Future, Young Thug, T.I., and a Quintana remix with the Migos among the features. It also includes what would be the track Wonderful with The Weeknd off of Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. It is a compilation fan-made album that was a bootleg as well. It featured old Travis songs that never became album cuts. We already kind of talked about the Arkansas riot, but apparently incited one prior to that in 2016. Not sure what that means on the Iceberg, but one of them is where the famous mugshot came from. Yeah Yeah is a Young Thug song off of DJ Hectic's album Trill's in the City 2. It was leaked in 2016, right as his mixtape Jeffrey was coming out. They were mixing the album when it was leaked, so they immediately kicked it to the curb. It has been styled many ways, like YEA, YAH, and the one you see in the picture. But yeah, the reason why Travis Scott isn't featured on Jeffrey was because the track got leaked. In 2019, Ed Sheeran released a track called Antisocial that featured Travis Scott. They released a video for it as well. They even performed it live together in London. There's not really much on their friendship or anything, so we'll just leave it at that. And that is going to do it for the 4th layer. Layer 5 is pretty much like, okay, you've done research on him. You're not just a fan, and this is kind of the part where I learned a lot of things. Like the 5th layer is where I really started to learn about Travis Scott. The title for Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight was influenced by QUAVO's lyrics in a single from the record called Pick Up the Phone, which also featured Young Thug. He said it randomly and it stuck with Travis while they were in the studio. The lyrics were originally Birds in the Trap Sing Brian McKnight, but it was shortened to just McKnight and not his first name. Al Pharaoh is Travis Scott's debut mixtape, and that released for free in May 2013 under Grand Hustle and Epic Records. Like how Days Before Rodeo was released, which we talked about earlier, the release date had many delays but eventually came out. The project features 14 tracks with appearances from T.I., Wale, 2 Chainz, TORY, A$AP Ferg, Theophilus London, Paul Wall, James Fauntleroy, and Meek Mill. Travis described this project as what would happen if the pharaohs were still alive and wanted music for when they came out and talked to the peasants. Interesting way to put it, but nonetheless, this is a very underrated mixtape and one of my favorite Travis Scott projects. And I believe I released a review on the channel if you would like to check it out. Before ASTROWORLD came out, track NC-17 had a snippet that went under the name of Cryogenic. 3500, a single from RODEO, had some interesting artwork that was shot by Australian director and photographer Nabil Elderkin. The picture features Travis walking through a desert with a cactus, how fitting. In the background there features a sign that says the song's title, 3500, and obviously Future and 2 Chainz is on the song, and they are listed on the art. Travis has a skull tat that features tribal styled lines on it, as you can see in the picture. He got this tattoo to get ready for his Astroworld tour. Nothing else was mentioned in terms of the meaning behind it. I guess it was just like a celebration of the success of Astroworld. I don't know if there's any heritage behind that or what. The instrumental for his hit track Goosebumps was rejected by many artists. This list of artists includes Drake, Schoolboy Q, Future, Rihanna, and Young Thug. The beat kept getting passed around until it fell in Travis's lap, and the rest is history. Back in 2020, racial riots were very popular and were happening all over the country. On one of these riots, a fan posted a picture of him donning the limited Jack Boys riot shield we mentioned earlier. Apparently it came in clutch, as you see in the caption. At least he got his money's worth out of it. The original artwork for the album ASTROWORLD, which released in 2018, had the same premise: a large inflatable Travis Scott head with an amusement park in the background. In the original artwork, however, there weren't kids in the picture. The artwork instead features a couple of nude women surrounded by burning cars and amusement park accessories, and this time it was shot at night. Both artworks were shot by David LaChapelle. Amanda Lepore, model and nightlife legend, was the main star of the photo, or so it seems. I feel like there are obvious reasons why this artwork wasn't kept. And funny enough, the original Travis Scott artwork actually didn't feature Lepore, as the photographer David LaChapelle said she was a bad girl. Literally no other reason. However, there were still other models featured in the photo that are unnamed, an odd situation for sure. Back in 2015, Travis and Rihanna had a short-term relationship that Travis wanted to keep quiet for obvious reasons. They were first seen at New York Fashion Week that year, and they ended the relationship because it got too much for Rihanna, given that Travis was basically in his prime as a successful artist and couldn't avoid the spotlight. Wonder Girl was one of Travis's major producers out of Canada when he first gained fame, and has been consistently working with him to this day, producing hits like Uptown off of Al Faro, The Prayer off of Days Before Rodeo, 90210, Antidote, and Never Catch Me off of Rodeo, The Ends and Sweet Sweet off of Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight, No Bystanders and Can't Say off of Astroworld, and 2 tracks off of the Jack Boys album. She has been a prominent part of Travis's career, as well as other artists such as SZA, Young Thug, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Yachty, Sheck West, Rich the Kid, and many more artists' come-ups. Travis Scott was a big help in the production process for Kanye's 2013 experimental album YEEZUS, having credits on tracks like New Slaves and Guilt Trip. This would really help him be recognized as a producer and most likely allow him to get signed to Good Music as a producer. MALU TRAVAJO was an artist who was supposedly signed to Cactus Jack and caused a lot of ruckus back in 2021 when she threatened to expose him over some drama they had over her apparent fake signing. She had a massive following on TikTok and had a hit song in Luna Llena. She was officially dropped from the label after causing too many problems and causing too much drama in the community. Tory Lanez is a well-known Canadian rapper who had beef with Travis Scott back in 2018. They had a video altercation that started over the fact that in 2016, Meek Mill wrote that he wrote for Travis Scott in response to Travis claiming that Tory stole his flow on Meek Mill's Liddy. They almost fought, but the situation fortunately de-escalated, as you can see in the image. That's where the altercation happened. It's kind of complicated, but they eventually settled the beef, and each artist has been seen supporting the other's music. Miss Ray was a high school counselor when Travis was in high school in Houston. Travis has praised her for saving his life. Travis was apparently tired of his current lifestyle, being poor and growing up in Houston, and she guided and motivated him to do better things. The video of him explaining her importance is on the Houston Chronicle YouTube channel, and this is a screenshot from the video. Atlanta rap legend T.I. signed Travis Scott before his first mixtape even came out, as an artist to Grand Hustle Records, and this is pretty much when fans say Travis's career started. Shout out to T.I. If you're a Travis Scott fan, every day we thank T.I. for this. Back in 2013, the Harlem Shake was a very popular dance. Even the Heatles partook in this trendy dance, LeBron, Chris Bosh, and D. Wade when they were together. In February of that year, Travis uploaded a video of him doing the dance to his official YouTube channel. Can't say that was on the bingo card. CYHI the Prince, who now goes by just CYHI, was a Georgia rapper who ghostwrote Travis's most popular song, Sicko Mode. He discussed this in a Vlad interview back in 2021. He also ghostwrote Kanye West's song Famous off of The Life of Pablo, and I'm sure he has a lot more writing credits on other artists like Pusha T and all those that are in, Kanye and Travis's circle. I don't want to detail their full friendship, but it is well known by super true, true to the bone, OG Travis Scott fans, that him and SoundCloud legend Space Ghost Perp are really good friends. I think they're still good friends. They even had shows together back in the day when they were both underground at the time. To celebrate the birth of their daughter Stormy, Travis gifted his girlfriend at the time, Kylie Jenner, a $1.4 million Ferrari as a push present. Given the context I just gave you, you should know what a push present means. It was a LaFerrari, one of the most top-of-the-line and expensive Ferrari models to date. Kylie referred to it as a push present on her Instagram. This is not what Travis said, this is what Kylie said. Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight was rushed. This was because Travis just wanted to put some dope music out and didn't want to necessarily stick to a script like he did on RODEO. This wasn't an album that was supposed to have a story, it was just kind of some enjoyable music. You know, he just wanted to put out good creative music. There wasn't as much thought put into this album, which is why it is said by many that it was rushed. This was seen by Travis as a way to hold fans over until Astroworld. It, however, doesn't seem rushed, as it is a great installment in his discography, and for being a supposedly rushed album, this album is fantastic, and I talk about it more in my review. In the intro of the song Backyard off of Days Before Rodeo, someone is heard eating chips while making or playing the song, It turns out that Travis was eating the chips, and it was later revealed that he was eating sour cream and onion lace. He must really like those chips, you can hear it on the intro. As I said earlier, Astroworld was supposed to be his 2016 album, not Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. It was supposed to, and still kind of is, be the sequel to his legendary album Rodeo. This was a long creative process, but the album finally came out, and I'd say it was worth it. This album took a little too long to make, so Travis kind of realized that he needed to drop another project in the meantime. There was a remix to the YEEZUS song Black Skinhead that released 3 years after the album that featured pop icon Miley Cyrus and Travis Scott. It is fitting because, as I said earlier, Travis was a big part of the production process of the original album. Butterfly Effect was originally a Nicki Minaj and QUAVO track. Murda Beats, the producer of the track, sent it to those two originally before Travis got his hands on it, and it became the lead single to Astroworld. And yeah, that's going to do it. That is the 5th layer of the iceberg, and I believe that is where we are going to wrap up part 2. I actually lied. We are going to try to fit all 3 of the remaining half of the iceberg into one video. It might be long, it might take me a while to make, but here we go. This is layer 6, this is the ocean floor, this is like outside of Travis Scott's music, this is just like, you're like federal, like him on a personal level. You're almost like Nardwuar at this point. Back in 2009, when Travis Scott had the $sign in his name, he made a collaborative mixtape with Jason Eric, an artist who still makes music to this day, called the Bape Mixtape. It was bad according to review websites, but it utilized the chopped and screwed sounds of southern hip-hop. Travis rapped about typical topics on here, such as partying and drugs, and also utilizes some samples. Days Before Birds was a fake Travis Scott project that was fan-made and a collection of leaks and live songs. It made it on streaming services, but it was confirmed by a Travis rep via Fader that it was a fake, unauthorized release. People thought it was real at first, but it seemed obvious that it was fake, as it was just a bunch of leaks thrown together with no rhyme or reason. There were 10 tracks on there with features from Wale, Party Next Door, Migos, Young Thug, Lil Uzi Vert, Made in Tayo, and more. It was released in 2016, and apparently bootleg CDs were sold off of it. Now, I couldn't find anything on that, but there you have it. Rolling Stone posted an article highlighting the many videos on TikTok that declared that demons were to blame for the Astroworld crowd crush we mentioned earlier. It was a dumb trend on TikTok to propose such a thing, as innocent lives were taken, but people had to get the answers. There were many questions surrounding the tragedy, and many people blamed the demonic nature of the festival. The stage was shaped like an inverted cross, and this apparently alluded to the fact that his festival was a portal to hell, and this tragedy was definitely a living hell, no doubt about it. Even his attire was criticized as demonic. Funny enough, TikTok started taking content like this down because it was against their guidelines. Defamation is a real thing, and we need to bring awareness, because no, this was not a demonic event, it was simply just a festival gone wrong. This isn't really an official thing about Travis, because an industry plant isn't a concrete thing. It is just a label. However, people have discussed whether Travis is an industry plant or not. There's not a lot of documentation on his come up. I mean, yeah, he started working with Kanye and TI, but that was before any sort of project came out of his. When he talks about his come up, he never clearly says how he did so, he just kind of says some weird stuff and moves on. He also lived near a prominent producer when he was coming up, according to an interview he did with Nardwuar. A lot of things point to the fact that he didn't really build up a career, he was kind of just placed into the industry. And this isn't to knock on him because he's of course an amazing artist, but it's something to really think about. According to engineers Travis has worked with such as Greasy Will, he's not a great artist to work with. Greasy made a TikTok where he talked about his studio experiences with the likes of Nickelback, who he said were really nice to him, and Travis Scott. He claimed that in a session in 2018, Travis showed up 4 hours late and made some rude remarks to him when he showed up. He tried to create conversation with Travis, but Travis simply wasn't having it. They worked together for 3 days, and Greasy tried to avoid him outside the studio at all costs because the experience was so bad for him. Greasy claimed his other engineer friends worked with Travis also, and they claimed the same sort of things. There have even been since deleted videos from the rodeo session of him shouting at engineers, as well as live sessions of him getting mad at engineers, so yeah, Travis Scott is kind of a dickhead. Shane Morris was Travis Scott's former manager who still works in the music industry. He's in his mid-30s, and after the Astroworld event, he described his experiences while managing Travis. They met in 2009 while Morris was developing a music website called earmilk.com. He was a software engineer at the time, and he described an incident on TikTok where he had a seizure when Travis was there in LA, and they all just left him there to die. This happened in between 2009 and 2013 before Travis even blew up. He claims Travis is the worst person in music he has ever worked with and tried to blame him for the Astroworld tragedy. He said Travis was selfish and he's been like this his whole career. Travis has yet to respond to such allegations. There's not really any specific demos that this could be referring to on the Iceberg, but many songs that made albums started off as demos such as SDP Interlude and Coordinate, Through the Late Night, Pick Up the Phone, Lose from Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight, and 3500 from Rodeo, and Raindrops, which would end up on Metro Boomin's Heroes and Villains album. Heavy Camp is a prominent one that just surfaced this year and is unreleased. So yeah, a lot of demo tracks, a lot of his bigger tracks kind of started as demos. The fake leaks refers to a fake cheating photo where a fake Travis Scott was pictured while kissing a woman besides Kylie Jenner. And obviously people saw this and thought that he was cheating. Travis denied the rumors, the man in the pictures showed his face, and it obviously wasn't Travis. This occurred in 2018 when the relationship was still going strong. It was part of an online prank, which is kind of fucked up, honestly. During an appearance in 2022, Travis was wearing golden grills that made it look like he was missing teeth, as you can kind of see closely if you look in the photo. You can also look this up online. This was during one of his unphotogenic moments where the toothless look made him look almost unrecognizable. He was doing a fit check with a famous TikToker that asked celebrities how much their fit cost. He's done it with many famous celebrities and artists and whatnot, and I cannot remember what the guy's name is for the life of me, so yeah. Back in April 2017, a then 23-year-old fan by the name of Kyle Green attended a Travis Scott concert in New York City. He was pushed from a third-floor balcony, leaving him paralyzed. He could have died from this. I'm pretty sure he was really close to dying, actually. He filed a lawsuit claiming Travis incited mayhem and chaos during his concerts. Travis obviously denied all allegations. Green's lawyer, Howard Hershenhorn, has made many comments on things like the Astroworld tragedy and his violent lyrics to continue to kind of build up this case, but nothing has ever came from it. And let's be honest, Travis fans are kind of fucking stupid, so moving on. In 2018, Travis was accused of being transphobic after cutting Amanda Lepore from the Astroworld cover art, which we've talked about earlier. She is obviously trans, and him editing her out of the pic suggested that he was transphobic. She posted the part of the pic he left out with her bending over to the right of the Astro head, and obviously she's naked, and good thing that picture isn't in high quality, because yeah, you'd see a whole lot of shit. When Astroworld came out, Travis used merch to beat out Nicki Minaj on the charts, and funny enough, he is using the same sort of merch drop to sell more for Utopia. Obviously, Nicki Minaj was dropping Queen. Nicki was not happy as her album Queen came second to Astroworld on the Billboard. This was one of many great merch wars that have happened between artists. Artists don't get as many copies due to streaming, and so bundles take up a lot of their charting numbers. Nicki blamed Kylie Jenner, Billboard, and Spotify for this instance for also kind of like pushing his album more than hers. The main merch item that boosted Astroworld sales was a graphic tee that featured him as an action figure on a white t-shirt and was designed by famous designer Virgil Abloh. For 9 days straight, his website was selling merch and restocking, constantly flipping the site, putting new things out every day. With every purchase of merch included the digital album and giveaways for VIP passes. It's kind of absurd, but I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. He tried a little too hard to beat out Nicki here. The Graduates EP was the debut mixtape from the rap group The Graduates, which comprised of Chris Holloway and Travis Scott. This EP, which was released in 2008, features heavy Kanye West influence throughout the EP. Group title, the group title, the EP title, throughout the album, and the style of music. The project also draws inspiration from Kid Cudi, Travis Scott's idol. One of the 8 tracks was even titled Day and Night after, obviously, Cudi's smash hit. There was a leaked version of the Playboi Carti Whole Lotta Red track that featured Travis that circulated after the album released. It was Rockstar made, obviously, and Aiden Ross, who's a popular streamer and Cactus Jack associate, played a snippet on his stream earlier this year. Fans believe that this was the OG version and was actually supposed to be on the album. Coffee Bean, a track off of Astroworld that closes the album, is on the surface discussing the controversial relationship with his now ex Kylie Jenner, and the track is even named after a popular coffee chain near their home. However, deep down, this track refers to his fear of being black and dating a woman from a white household and all the racism he could experience. This is a very personal track and shows his insecurities he gets at times when he is around her. The beat is very simple, which shows that this is a lyric-driven song. Coffee Bean also kind of refers to his pigment, given that they're both like the same color. No racism intended. Travis Scott has detailed in interviews how he first met Kanye West in New York, noting that he came in dripped out while on the phone and acknowledged Travis by name. Travis was in disbelief. Funny enough, they ate Taco Bell together, and Travis noted his famous demeanor. Travis didn't like what Kanye got him, but he still ate it because it was Kanye, and he really wanted to meet him, he really wanted to connect with him. He didn't like sour cream, if that's what you needed to know. He played Ye his music, and Ye started bopping his head, saying his music is dope, and then quickly criticizing it. This is kind of Kanye's process. Travis noted that he was super starstruck at the time and couldn't believe that Kanye was showing him support. Cruisin' USA was a 2011 collaboration mixtape with Jason Eric, who we mentioned earlier, and the final album they made together before Travis kind of started focusing on his solo career. The title and cover was based off of the Nintendo 64 game of the same name. Travis produced the whole project himself, and the project was dropped under their group name, The Classmates, which is kind of like a reference to The Graduates. Little connection there. Casey VEGGIES is a rapper that was associated with Odd Future and someone Travis has known since as far as 2012. They've went on the road together, have a 2012 song called Up together, and have performed together. So yeah, pretty good friends there. There was a song from the deluxe version of Kanye's Donda called Life of the Party. It was initially leaked by Drake, and on the leaked version there were some disses against Travis on it. I don't really remember what the exact lines were, but yeah, it was kind of controversial. And it's probably why Kanye didn't end up releasing that verse, because he didn't want any problems with Travis. Back in 2012, an old version of Al Pharaoh circulated on the internet that had 21 tracks rather than 14. It was posted everywhere from YouTube to SoundCloud. It was labeled as a prelude. Travis was about to release this version, but the album was then remade. And yeah, that is going to do it for the Iceberg. So that is going to do it for part 2, the Iceberg. We covered the last 3. I was originally only going to do 2, but it didn't take as long as I expected. So here you go. You're going to get part 2 probably Wednesday the 19th. That's probably when you're going to be getting this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed all of the information. Did you learn anything? Did you know all of this stuff? Let me know how you did. You know, this is kind of a test, again, like I said at the beginning of the video. And Utopia is supposedly coming out in 3 to 10 days from when I am recording this. So this is perfect, you know, to kind of build hype for the album and to kind of refresh people's memories on the wonder, on the amazing, controversial artist that is Travis Scott. So again, like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's not as good of a, you know, Iceberg is a guy like June Plug, and shout out to him. You guys should go look him up. He makes great Iceberg video, sorry, but I'm out, guys.